Hi, ISL teacher. So today I'm going to talk about Attack on Titan, the anime. Attack on Titan is a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Hajime Isayama. It is set in a world where humanity lives inside cities surrounded by three enormous walls that protect them from the gigantic man-eating humanoids named as Titans. The story follows Eren Yeager, who vows to exterminate the Titans after a Titan brings about the destruction of his hometown and the death of his mother. So, where are the Titans come from and who is Ymir Fritz? Around 2000 years ago, Ymir's village was attacked and enslaved by the Eldians, who also murdered her parents and cut out the tongues of the survivors. One night, Ymir opened the gate to a pen, allowing for some pigs to escape. Later, the tribe's ruler, Fritz, questioned the slaves on the culprit. The slaves pointed to Ymir, who was released only to be hunted down for a spot. Wounded and desperate, Ymir found an unusually large tree with a chasm at its base. Seeking shelter, she stepped inside and, not knowing of the sinkhole beneath, fell down into a pool of liquid. There, a mysterious spine-like creature fused with her and turned her into the first Titan. With her newfound power, Ymir returned to serve Fritz and used her Titan to cultivate the land, build bridges, and amass wealth for the Eldians. Under his command, she also vanquished the armies of Eldia's rival, Marley. To reward Ymir for her service, Fritz took her as his concubine and together they had three children, Maria, Rose, and Sheena. It was speculated that during this time, Ymir grew to genuine love and care for Fritz despite his behavior and attitude towards her. 13 years after acquiring the power of the Titans, Ymir died while thwarting an assassination attempt on Fritz, but then found herself in a mysterious barren land. King Fritz then forced his daughters to eat their mother's corpse in an attempt to preserve the power of the Titans. He commanded his daughters to continuously reproduce, to have their children eat their spines upon their dads and perpetuate this ritual from child to child so that Ymir's blood would not die out and Eldia could rule forever with its Titans. Ymir's power was divided into the 9 Titans, and she continued to serve her descendants, building them Titans whenever they invoked the power of the Titans. The Great Titan War. For many hundreds of years, the various familial houses subservient to the Fritz family were in constant conflict between each other for control over the 8 Titans, though the power of the founding Titan maintained order in the Eldian Empire throughout the centuries. However, when the founding Titan was inherited by Karl Fritz, the 145th king of the Fritz monarchy, he chose instead to abandon the conflict of Eldia and relocate the capital to Paradise Island to the east of the mainland. Believing that Eldia deserved retribution for their crimes against the world throughout the centuries, Karl Fritz conspired with the Tybur family, the holders of the Warhammer Titan, to bring about the downfall of Eldia. In the king's absence, the people of Marley, descendants of an ancient nation defeated by Eldia, seized the opportunity to take control of the war, inspired by the tales of the Marleyan hero Helos, secretly a fabrication created by Karl Fritz and the Tyburs. After the closing of the gates and the walls, Karl Fritz used the power of the founding Titan to erase the memories of the world before the raising of the walls from the minds of the subjects of Ymir. For the next century, the subjects of Ymir would live on believing themselves to be the last remnants of humanity on Earth, with the world beyond the walls overrun by the Titans that had appeared without warning in the year the walls were raised. Across the sea on the mainland of the newly reformed nation of Marley, the people of Eldia who were left behind on the continent became low-class citizens under the authority of their new rulers. Rather than exterminating the Eldians, the government of Marley chose instead to confine them within the internment zones, such as in Liberia, separate from the Marleyan populace. For the next century to come, the people of Marley would believe they had truly conquered Eldia by their strength, unaware of Karl Fritz's actions in bringing about the downfall of his own nation. Over the next 80 years, some Eldians would come together to form a resistance movement with the goal of overthrowing Marley and restoring the Empire of Eldia. 9 Titans' abilities. The founding Titan, by screaming, could turn subjects of Ymir into Titans, control the minds of Titans, and alter the memories and bodies of subjects of Ymir, but only if the inheritor had royal blood or was in contact with a Titan of royal blood. It was connected to all subjects of Ymir and Titans via paths. The armored Titan was covered by hardened, armor-like skin, except in key areas necessary for movement. It also possessed the ability to harden its arms and feet into sharper claws, which could be used to climb structures such as the walls. The attack Titan could receive memories from both past and future inheritors of the Titan. Guided by these memories, it always moved ahead, fighting for freedom. The beast Titan could take on the physical characteristics of different animals that vary between its inheritors. The cart Titan was quadrupedal and had great endurance that allowed it to stay transformed for long periods of time, as well as transform in rapid succession without needing to rest hundreds of times per day even. The closest Titan was enormous and could emit immense amount of steam from its body like a blast furnace at the gradual cost of its muscle tissue. The user was able to control the Titan's transformation power and blast radius. The female Titan could inherit abilities much more easily than any of the other Titans. It could also harden areas of its skin for extra offensive and defensive capabilities. It also had the ability to summon pure Titans with its scream. The Jaw Titan was the swiftest of the 9 Titans and had sharp, hardened teeth and claws capable of damaging or breaking almost anything. The Warhammer Titan could materialize various weapons and structures from its own hardened flesh. Grisha was born in Liberia in the year 806 on the continent of Marley. One day in the year 817, he and his sister ran out of the internment zone chasing after a blimp and were found up by 2 public security officers. One of the men punished Grisha, while the other one took Faye away. After the officer finished beating him, he allowed Grisha to continue watching the airship, stating since Grisha had already trespassed, they might as well continue watching the airship. However, when Grisha returned home, Faye was not there. Her corpse was later found mangled in a river. The Marleyan officers visited the family home and explained that Faye and Grisha were at fault for living and denied any knowledge of her death. Grisha continued to live his life being shamed for being an Eldian and eventually became a doctor. Then he joined the Eldian Restorationists. Through his activities and a mole in the Marley legal system named the Owl, Grisha got information about Eldian history and met Dinah Fritz, a person of royal descent. She provided information about the Titans that only the royal family knew. They continued to gain information about the Titans to raise an Eldian empire and had a child which they named Zeke. Whenever he and Zeke had free time, Grisha would spend it quizzing his son on the true history of the Eldian race. One night during dinner, Zeke tried to convince Grisha to stop helping the Eldian restorationists. Grisha was appalled at the idea, reminding Zeke that the only way for Eldians to live in peace was for the restorationists to overthrow Marley.
誰かが立ち上がらない限り、みんなずっとこの狭い壁の中で惨めに死んでいくんだぞ。
そうよ。これはあなたやエルディア人みんなの未来のための戦いだって言ったでしょ。
He was enraged to hear Zeke bring up Faye, angrily telling him that the restorationists were fighting with the express intent of making sure that no one suffered the same fate as her. After the age of 7, Zeke exposed his parents and all the restorationists, and they were sentenced to go to Paradise Island as pure titans. Being turned into the public security authorities, Grisha was subjected to new torture as the soldiers attempted to get him to reveal who the owl was by cutting off his fingers. Once they gave up on obtaining the information, Grisha and the rest of the restorationists were taken to Paradise Island and set on their knees before a large wall by the ocean. All of the restorationists were turned into titans with titan injection except for the Jaegers and another member. When it was Dinah's turn, Grisha pleaded for her life and tried to point out that she was of royal descent and could be of potential to use them, but was silenced by Kruger before any of the soldiers could overhear him. A police officer named Gross began pushing Grisha off, asking him to fight and die in an interesting way. However, before he could do so, Kruger pushed Gross off the wall. As gross is the word, Kruger asked Grisha if he enjoyed such a sight. He then revealed that he was the owl and claimed that he would show Grisha how to truly use the power of the Titans. Kruger then transformed into a Titan and destroyed the steamboat that took all the soldiers to the island.
「当局の兵士は皆果実の搾りかすのようになり、海に投げ入れられた。
After destroying the Marleyan men and their equipment, Kruger returned to the top of the wall and introduced himself and explained how he became a spy.
フクロウ、あんたは何者だ？
俺はエレン・クルーガー。今見せた通り、9つの巨人の一つを宿している。つまりはお前と同じユミルの民。
Kruger then said that he was entrusting Grisha with his final mission. Kruger told Grisha that he must enter the walls and take back the founding Titan using the power of the Titans Kruger would give him. Grisha told him that he did not believe he was fit to take on his mission, and that he would not have paid the price for freedom if he knew what it was. Kruger then commended Grisha's father for trying to keep his family safe when he knew what happened to Faye. Kruger confronted Grisha and told him that the reason he chose him is that, at the expense of others, he sought freedom by going past the walls. He said that their brothers and sisters paid the price for their freedom and that those actions will follow them until they are repaid even after that. Grisha then stood up and accepted Kruger's mission. He then told him the name of the Titan he was going to take, the Attack Titan. After taking his power, Grisha went to the walls and began his mission.
これからお前へ継承される巨人にもだ。名は
進撃の巨人。
Grisha was found wandering outside the walls near the Shiganshina district by Keith Shedis, a soldier of the Survey Corps. The soldier was very surprised to see him, not only because he was outside the walls, but also because he claimed to have suffered amnesia and he had no memories about the civilization inside the walls and the military. Keith brought Grisha back to Shiganshina, where he was imprisoned for illegally entering Titan territory. While imprisoned, he claimed to remember his name. Upon release, Grisha revealed to Keith that he remembered being a doctor and asked him for knowledge about the world inside the walls. When an epidemic broke out in Shiganshina, Grisha was able to successfully cure those afflicted, including Carla and her parents. Grisha and Carla eventually married each other. He and Carla would later have a son named Eren. After a few years, Eren said that he wants to join the Survey Corps, which is the branch of the military most actively involved in direct Titan combat, Titan study, human expansion, and outside exploration. Grisha is more obliging of the idea than Carla and asks his son why he wants to leave the walls. Eren's answer that the deaths of the many soldiers who have already served in the Survey Corps will be a waste if no one continues to fight. Grisha announces that he will be departing, telling a bewildered Carla that there's no point in trying to stop an inquisitive mind like Eren's. Before he leaves, he promises to show Eren what he has been hiding in their basement when he returns. 2 days later, while Eren and his friends debate their views about leaving the walls, they heard a loud bang and run to the town, only to see the Colossus Titan peering over the walls at them as it kicks through the gate. After learning Carla was devoured by the Titans, Grisha finally decided to inherit this mission to Eren and give the Attack Titan to him. In the forest, he entrusts Eren with the key to his basement and injects him with a Titan serum, explaining to Eren that their memories will teach him how to use the ability. Grisha is immediately devoured by Eren, transferring the Attack Titan to him. Two years later, Eren, along with his two friends Mikasa Ackerman and Armin Arlert, joined the 104th Cadet Corps. The three successfully graduated, with Eren ranking as the 5th best cadet, and they joined the Scout Regiment following the struggle for trust. Eren then vowed to free his home from their true enemy, the rest of humanity that lives across the sea. So, this is the story of a boy who shouts for freedom. The battle is about to begin.